Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for our 31st race of the season, the first season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series, as we continue on round number 2 of the playoffs. This is chase race number 5. This is the middle race of round 2. Next week will be our second elimination race, where we will whittle down the playoff grid from 12 drivers to your Elite 8. So 12 drivers still remain in the hunt for the championship, and if one of them wins here today, they would be locked into the round of 8. Last week was our first non-playoff winner in a playoff race, with R Brommer completing the Dodge Challenger sweep, going to victory lane at Hillside. We got a couple of drivers starting towards the front here in this one that are playoff contenders, but a number of other drivers starting near the rear of the field. I could see Carson Gum back there, Zach Rogers, Austin LaPlante, so they're definitely going to have a task, as usually at these type of road courses, it's all about track position. We're here today at Lime Rock Raceway, probably one of my all-time favorite road courses ever. This track always seems to bring about something different. Sometimes it's a fuel strategy race. Sometimes it comes down to which driver has a short run car versus which driver has a long run car. We have seen so many different things take place here at Lime Rock, and that's why it is one of the mainstay road courses whenever there is a playoff system, because it just seems to always be one of those tracks that always makes a difference into who's going to make it into the next round and who isn't. One driver who did not advance here into the round of 12 is K Mathews. He lines up on the pole position, our Bristol winner, looking for his second win of the season, just trying to finish out the year as best he can. He'll start alongside of M Haas, who, like R Brommer last week, looks to become a first-time winner. They will definitely have advantage with good starting track position here today. A couple of our playoff contenders starting up inside of the top 10. C Dollerton rolls off from 4th, J Millz from 6th, and I believe D Poteet and J Shelton make up row 5. Let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the command is given, a lot of people may have looked at the playoff grid last week, and we're going to show it to you this week and thought, wait a minute, this doesn't look like a playoff grid we had back when we had the races at Indianapolis and the week before at the Charlotte Roval. Well, you would be correct. The reason that it looks different is because after the first race of a round, we actually give the interval of points from last up to first. It's then after the second race of the round, and of course the elimination race, that we show the interval to the cutoff line. So when this race is concluded, whoever is in the 8th position in points is who you will see the comparison of plus and minus. But here we are showing you the grid, and it is in relation to who is the current points leader, which would be D Poteet. A number of drivers, actually a number of playoff contenders, had great runs last week, including Poteet, Mills, Watson, Dollerton, Turner, and Gum. That's why you can see they are all only separated by 8 points in the standings. The drivers that had some difficulties last week, Zach Rogers and Austin LaPlante, they basically finished back near the rear of the lead lap cars. Jordan Lopez and Mitchell Collins had issues at Hillside and finished off the lead lap, but only 32 points separate the remaining 12 drivers, so there still is plenty of time for drivers that struggled last week to be able to bounce back here this week. Now, if they end up having a poor performance here at Lime Rock, they will probably be in a must-win situation next week at our second elimination race of Arizona. And you can see as the playoff grid was gone, the drivers that came into this race currently in the, and I put this in quotes, danger zone, were Zach Rogers, Austin LaPlante, Jordan Lopez, Mitchell Collins, but a lot can definitely change in the course of today's race. 25 laps of racing here today. We are not running the 2019 rules package. We didn't last week at Hillside either. Only a race in this round that will be running that 2019 rules package is next week, the elimination race at the 1.5 mile speedway of Arizona. Does not mean we are not running the CTS physics here today, so two things will come into play. Number one, fuel. Fuel consumption will be a lot more than if these drivers are running cup physics, so we may see these drivers play this race into a fuel strategy race. And secondly, the draft. Now, not a whole lot of opportunity for draft, but right here, this long straightaway from the final corner down to the first corner does give drivers an opportunity. If they get off the final turn just right, they can get a big run and make a move down in turn 1 for the race lead. So here we go. K Mathews and M Haas. They will lead us down, and all Camaro front row. We're just waiting on you, Mr. Flagman. Let's roll at Lime Rock. C Dollerton way wide there through the corner. You don't want to get two tires off the racing surface, and he's going to get spun around off the nose of J Millz. 3 wide early. Dollerton tried to get back in line. Millz says, no, sir, I'm not letting you back on. Is that going to bring out a caution? It is not. No yellow flag for that. And that is going to lose Chris Dollerton an awful lot of track position as K Mathews overdrives the corner, as did M Haas. Here comes Dylan Young looking for the race lead. Right here is one of the most difficult corners because you have to come down this sweeping downhill section and then try and brake to get into this right-hander heading for the straightaway. A lot of speed gets carried down the downhill portion. And you can see the flagman is not waving a yellow, so we are still green. Chris Dollerton, his day looks like it may be over. He came in 7 points behind the points that had a great run last week at Hillside. T Wright looks like he got caught up in it as well, and he lost a lot of ground on track. But that is a tough break for Chris Dollerton. And remember, if we think back to K Mathews, who right now is trying to run down Dylan Young for the race lead again, K Mathews suffered a dead last finish in the first race of the playoffs at Chicagoland. Never was able to bounce back and get himself up there into the top 12. He got eliminated in the first round, and right now I would be very worried if I was that 43 team, as Chris Dollerton is smoking. Looks like that car may have actually gone over on its roof potentially. And he's bringing it to pit road, and I think he's going to make the right-hand turn into the garage area. So that is a tough break for Chris Dollerton. He'll be the first driver out of the race here today. And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet or if you're about to see it, but you'll see at some point here, courtesy of the NNSCRA split cam, what happened. As I'm actually a little bit surprised they did not throw the caution there. Normally when we have a wreck in this portion of the track, there normally is a yellow flag that flies, but that was not the case. Apparently Dollerton was off track and out of the way of everybody else after he got spun, and apparently NNSCRA officials felt no need to throw the yellow. So K Mathews goes back to the lead. Dylan Young falls back to second. His teammate Adam Garcia lines up there in third. And you see some drivers through that section getting way up the curbing, and a reason for that, the CTS physics. CTS physics with the draft have you carry so much more speed into a corner, and I don't think these drivers are used to it, and they're overdriving that turn just a little bit. I've seen a number of them get off course. M Haas will move into fourth. J Shelly passing Shelton for fifth. So Shelton's going to drop back to sixth, but right now the highest running of the playoff contenders. And this is important for Shelton because if you looked at the playoff standings coming into this race, she was only 1 point ahead of Zach Rogers, 2 points ahead of Austin LaPlante. And Rogers and LaPlante were in the danger zone. So Shelton was down there near the danger zone, so a good run today could certainly give her some insurance. And remember, she headed into the last elimination race in Indianapolis with a little bit of a cushion between herself and the danger zone. So certainly looking to do that again here today. R Brommer up in the 7th position. He went to victory lane last week for the first time as we are under caution. I saw the caution lights on. So the caution is finally out for the first time today, and it'll be here on lap 4. But R Brommer trying to go for back-to-back victories, and we got a battle back here. This is for 10th between some playoff contenders. J Millz and D Poteet, P1, P2 in the playoff standings coming into this race. Poteet over Millz as they race back to the line, and it will be K Mathews leading us under our first caution of the day. There was a car on pit road, though I was not really able to catch a glimpse of who it was. It might have been T Wright, but I almost think it might have been the 7 of M McIntire. Nope, it wasn't either. It was Ryan Butcher, who I thought might actually be a factor in today's race because he has a win this season at a road course back at Pensacola, but that car is all torn up. And it looks like, I don't know if we might have had a sense of deja vu with what happened to Chris Dollerton because he's got roof damage now as well. So K Mathews leads us here under the caution. So you guys will not have seen the Chris Dollerton incident under the NNSCRA split cam. What we do is we show you the NNSCRA split cam if we go green all the way to the end. If there is a caution break where we can show you incidents before the yellow came out, we actually take that break period to be able to show it to you so that way we can give you an in-depth look. So you will not have seen the Chris Dollerton incident, even though I said that you were going to. You will now see it as we will be looking back at a replay of what happened to both Dollerton and the 24 of Ryan Butcher, which actually brought out this first caution of the day as K Mathews leads the way here at Lime Rock. Well, it starts back here going into turn 1. We saw Chris Dollerton go awfully wide through the corner. There you see him. He's about a whole groove higher than he should be. 2 tires off the racing surface, so he's losing momentum. That's allowing J Millz to get to his inside, and I think Dollerton thought he was going to be able to get back on track, but Millz was already there to his right rear quarter panel, and when Dollerton turns back to the right, he's going to get hooked around off the nose of the 98. I mean, there's nothing J Millz can do. He's got to hold his ground. T Wright gets spun off the racing surface as well. Oh, and that's why Dollerton got his damage. This track is not surrounded by safer barriers. It is surrounded by steel guardrail and fencing, and that fencing just rips apart the race car, and you can see right there all the damage sustained by Chris Dollerton, and immediately the smoke is coming out of the back of his car. That might have ripped the fuel cell or something in the back of that Dr. Pepper Chipotle. Wow, Chipotle. Is that like a new Mexican Chick-fil-A? Chipotle Ford Mustang, and I have found out he has taken the car back to the garage. He will be finishing here today at Lime Rock in dead last. So despite a good run last week at Hillside, it'll be interesting to see where this is going to put Chris Dollerton heading into next week's elimination race at Arizona. Now let's see what happened to Ryan Butcher. Little bit of second song, or same song, second chorus here, as they were 3 wide. Johnny Gardner, Ryan Butcher, Seth Cole. Gardner's the one that runs wide. Wow, hard hit there into Seth Cole in the driver's side door, and the car in the middle is the one that goes around this time. And almost the exact same spot that Chris Dollerton hit is where Ryan Butcher hit, and he couldn't even get his car refired up, as that car was completely totaled on the back. Probably pushed the rear quarter panels into the rear wheels and probably couldn't even get the car moving. So that is a tough break there for Ryan Butcher, who was running outside of the top 20 at the time. And boy, it's very interesting. The car on the outside of 3 wide the first time was the one that wrecked. The car in the middle of 3 wide this time is the one that wrecked. And a little bit of deja vu over there in the first few corners here at Lime Rock, as we'll go back now for the restart. Well, the one good thing here about Lime Rock is we run road course yellows. So once we take the caution, the pits are open the next time around, and then we get the 1 to green signal. So we will be going back green this time by. Kyle Mathews the leader, Dylan Young second, Adam Garcia third, fourth is Matt Haas, and non-chasers sweep the top 5 with J Shelly. Highest running playoff driver right now is J Shelton in 6th. You got J Millz in 9th and Dylan Poteet in 10th. Let's find out where the rest of our playoff contenders are restarting. Jesse Turner is in 12th. Carson Gum in 17th. Benny Watson's up to 19th. Mitchell Collins in 21st. Jordan Lopez 24th as we're getting ready to go back green. Zach Rogers restarts in 25th. And Austin LaPlante's back in 34th with Carter Friesen in 35th. 2 drivers out of the race. Those are the cars of Ryan Butcher and playoff contender Chris Dollerton. So Dollerton, I think right now, needs to hope and pray a lot of other playoff drivers have some issues here today. Still plenty of time for that to happen, as we've got a total of 19 laps to go. Whoa, way off the track go a couple cars. J Shelly, J Millz, and Shelly got the tire barrier. Millz is into him. Cole Baker's collected as well. Shelly is stuck in the guardrail. Millz is all torn up. Baker's got damage, and that brought out the caution. So explain to me how a car that goes off track into the steel guardrail brings out a caution, but a driver that spins, off the track and hits a fencing area does not bring out a caution. I'm confused about that, as there was contact between Andersson and Qualls, and that was close. Whoa, Benjamin Miles through the grass trying to make a pass on Adam Garcia. Not exactly sure what position that is for, as we had a lead change and a drag race back to the line between Matt Haas and Dylan Young. Dylan Young is going to win out on that one. And our second playoff driver of the day, 3-time winner J Millz involved. Remember, we were all, 4-time winner J Millz involved, I should say. And we were all shocked that 3-time winner William Brock got eliminated in the first round. We may end up losing another of our multi-time winners here in this round if J Millz is not able to continue. He had a lot of damage on his race car, and that car, it looks like it's smoking as well, so I don't think that Rice Krispies Ford is going to be continuing this race. J Shelly is already on pit road. Cole Baker sustained quite a bit of left side damage in that wreck also. And I'm really surprised that we had a number of drivers go off like that when we were under a single file restart, especially. Double file, I could imagine it, but single file, that really shocked me. That's J Millz, who had the great run last week at Hillside, and he is out. And he will probably finish this race in the 37th position. Shelly will probably finish in 38th. Let's go back and see what happened to all of them off of turn number 2. So here's the battle on the restart for the 5th position between Shelton and Shelly. And I guess Yeah, they were double wide because Shelton was able to make a move on James Shelly, but Shelly just completely overdrives the corner, and then J Millz does the same. J Millz is actually quite lucky that Shelly was there, otherwise he'd have been the one to take the brunt. Oh, and then it was that hit right there, I think, that did J Millz in, with Cole Baker going into that same area. So if Shelly hadn't hit the guardrail, Millz would have, and if Millz and Shelly hadn't hit it, then Cole Baker would have. So that might be something very interesting to keep an eye on our next restart of drivers that are stuck on that outside line, making their way through that first corner, which is almost kind of like a 180-degree turn. It's a little bit wider than the turn 11 at Sonoma, but almost the same kind of an idea, same kind of a concept. And already proving to be the bane of the existence of a number of drivers, as now we've got 2 playoff drivers out of the race here at Lime Rock. So as we get ready to go back green, out of the race, playoff contenders Chris Dollerton and J Millz, and another of our playoff contenders has had an issue. Not exactly an issue that's taking them out of the race, but due to getting some damage, J Shelton has brought her car to pit lane, and she is going to be restarting at the very tail end of the field there in that Smirnoff Ice Camaro. Now, if we manage to continue to go green as nobody has hit pit road of the leaders, maybe this will put her within the fuel window to make it the rest of the way, but we're going to have to wait and see. Cole Baker just now leaving pit road as well. He's still on the lead lap. As out of the race now are 4 cars. Millz will finish 37th, Shelly in 38th, Ryan Butcher in 39th, and Chris Dollerton in 40th. 36 cars still running and on the lead lap, and I believe they are all up to speed. So Dylan Young, who had that drag race back to the line with Matt Haas, he will be the race leader. Haas will line up second. Mathews third. Benjamin Miles now up to 4th. 5th is going to be Dylan Poteet, as the ticker is not updated since J Shelton made the pit stop. 6th will be Adam Garcia. 7th, Ryan Brommer. 8th will be Jesse Turner. 9th, Levi McIntire. And Jack Mitchell will cross the line in the top 10 when we hit the line this next time by. Well, Dylan Poteet came into this race as the points leader. 4 points over J Millz, 7 points over Chris Dollerton, who have both had their issues today. Jesse Turner was only 8 points back. So right now, if Poteet and Turner can finish the day out with top 10s, they may have a pretty good interval between themselves and 8th in the standings going into next week's race at Arizona, and may be able to lock themselves up spots in the Elite 8 after today's race. Still a ways to go, though. Green flag will come back out with 17 laps to go here at Lime Rock, and let's see if they can make it through turn 1 this time without wrecking. There's a move back here between Jesse Turner and Levi McIntire, so I want to watch the 99 on that outside line through this corner. Looks like he's pretty good. Looking further back through. Looks like everybody's making it through pretty well. Going to drop to the back just to see. Oh, we got a car off track. That's Carter Friesen, but he didn't hit the steel guardrail like James Shelly did. He's going to drop all the way back to 36th, though. So our Daytona 500 winner and another playoff contender with some issues here as Dylan Young a little off course. Here comes Matt Haas for the race lead. Jesse Turner back there battling with Dylan Poteet. That's for the highest playoff driver. Ooh, I think Dylan Young may have brushed the tires back there, and those tires are very unforgiving. I don't see any damage on his race car, though, so he may have gotten away very, very closely unscathed. Still green as Benjamin Miles making the move here on Kyle Mathews. Keep an eye on this 25 because in 2 of our road course races this season, a Northeast Motorsports car has gone to victory lane. Ryan Butcher at Pensacola and William Brock at Sonoma. So they've obviously got a very good road course program. And Benjamin Miles trying to work his way to the front, the only one of the Northeast Motorsports Chevrolets that has not won yet this season. Brock's a 3-time winner, Butcher's win at Pensacola, and LaPlante has a win at his home track of New Hampshire. Matt Haas has run away with the lead, at least for now, though, as they were wadded up from second on back. Oh, trouble, Kyle Mathews! Spun off the nose of Dylan Young. He's going to come right back up into traffic. He gets Poteet! McIntire as well. The track is blocked up. Qualls is in it. Watson, Gum, they're still plowing into this thing. Seth Cole was in it. Oh, look out. Oh, Shelton just hit the tire barriers. That's at least 4 playoff contenders I counted right there that were involved in that one. Shelton, Watson, Poteet, and Gum. And the caution is out. Oh my goodness. Did I tell you or did I tell you that Lime Rock always seems to play a huge factor into the playoff standings? Well, you're seeing it firsthand. We are just near the halfway point of this race. Poteet's day is done. Shelton's day is done. K Mathews, the pole sitter. There's J Qualls on pit road. There were some others that were involved. Seth Cole, I know, got a piece of it. There's the 19 of Carson Gum. I know he was involved. A lot of damage as he ran into the back of, I think it was fellow Camry Benny Watson. And the caution waves again. And I don't think there's going to be very many people happy with the driver of the number 2 of Dylan Young, because he's the one that caused that wreck. As M Haas leads us under the yellow flag for our third time today in the first 50% of this race. We will go back and take a look at a replay, and I believe, yeah, since we're at the halfway point, all these drivers know they can make it the rest of the way on fuel, so everyone's going to pit. We'll see if there's any shuffles as far as the running order when we come back. For now, let's go back and see what happened off the final corner. The one problem with incidents in this portion of the track is there's a bridge that goes overhead, so it's kind of hard to be able to see, but I'd like to know if maybe K Mathews came down across Dylan Young's nose, or did Dylan Young turn him? Let's see if we can see as they come through here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dylan Young, you can see that car just swung wide straight into K Mathews. And the problem with this corner is it's a right-hander. And the car spins down to the grass in a downhill section. The car's just not going to have enough momentum scrubbed off. And right up in front of the points leader, Dylan Poteet. Wham! Right there. The whole right front wheel well ripped off of his race car. Nowhere for Levi McIntire to go. And look at all these guys back here. They're trying to slow up, but how do you slow up on a downhill slope? It's just not possible. J Qualls on the brakes. He's trying to slow down. He can't. He runs into McIntire. There's the 75 of Watson. There's where he gets involved. There's Carson Gum running into the back of him. Here comes Seth Cole. You can see him there in the dust. He's going to nail the 75 of Watson. And then you'll see right here, if you watch on the right side of your screen, you'll see J Shelton coming into view, who, remember, was at the rear of the field here after coming to pit road on that last caution. And right here, she's into the right rear quarter panel of J Qualls, and Qualls has to stay to the right of Levi McIntire, because McIntire, I think, was trying to get to pit road, and then Shelton couldn't turn her car back to the left to get back to to the racing surface, and hits the tire barriers. So she's out of the race. Poteet's out of the race. I don't know about Benny Watson and Carson Gum. Watson with another hit back there into Shelton. So that could be 4 more playoff contenders. We could have half of our playoff contenders out of this race before this race is even past its halfway point. And no doubt about it, this track is definitely playing a huge factor into our playoff standings, and definitely going to give us very interesting scenarios going into Arizona. Let's go back for the restart, as some drivers have pit and some drivers have stayed out. We're back for the green flag. My apologies for that. I thought we were going to get back in time. R Brommer, from the 7th position, I think he was, decided to stay out, along with a number of others. Diego Yepez stayed out, Mitchell Collins, William Brock, Jordan Lopez, Johnny Gardner, Michael Norman, Matthew Rodriguez, J Jefferson, V Almariego. The first of the cars to pit was from the 21st on back. M Haas, the top 20 decided to stay out, apparently feeling that that was not the last caution we will see. We just had a lead change. Diego Yepez going to the front. William Brock now looking for second on R Brommer. Got a car on pit road. That's Austin LaPlante, but there is no caution. That's another playoff driver in the 48. Out of the race are the cars of J Shelton, K Mathews, Dylan Poteet, Levi McIntire, and Benny Watson. Shelton will finish 32nd, Poteet 34th, Watson in 36th. They join J Millz and J Dollerton, some other playoff contenders, in the garage area. Carson Gum has continued on. Damaged and maybe off the pace. Austin LaPlante, we saw there an unscheduled stop for the 48. There he is. Depending on if we have another caution or not, we may show you what happened to him. Courtesy of the split cam, as William Brock trying to take the race lead away here from Diego Yepez. 3-time winner, trying to join J Millz as a 4-time winner and get his second road course win of the season. But remember, all these drivers still have to pit. We go back here, there's Benjamin Miles. I think he is the highest running of the drivers right now that have been to pit road, in the 15th position. So if this thing goes green to the end and these other drivers ahead of him cannot make it on fuel, this is definitely going to play into the hands of the driver of the Hertz Rental Chevrolet. I don't even see Matt Haas. There he is. He came in to pit road from the lead. Miles was second at the time. Miles bypassing Wyatt Quail. That's for position as we move closer to the front. Pretty interesting call here for a couple of drivers. Jordan Lopez and Mitchell Collins deciding to stay out. They're up in the top 10 as a result. Remember, these are two drivers that finished off the lead lap last week at Hillside. Damaged and off the pace. So they are going for the ultimate gamble here, feeling this is their only chance of putting themselves in a good position heading into our elimination race next week at Arizona. But the question is, can they make it on fuel? Diego Yepez continues to lead the way. William Brock right behind him. J Gardner there in the 14. You remember back to him almost winning at Phoenix, but came up 2 laps short on fuel. Could it be another case of that here today? R Brommer, he's already got a win last week at Hillside. Now he's going for back-to-back victories, but the question of these drivers all being able to make it the rest of the way on fuel is really, I think, the big question, because I think these drivers all thought we may end up getting another caution. So far, we've been able to keep it green since going back on this restart. Fingers crossed that maybe we can keep it green, although these drivers would not like that. Thought R Brommer might be trying to get to pit road, but instead he was trying to make a move for third on J Gardner. Either Austin LaPlante's out of the race or he's continued on, and I don't see him. So it looks like LaPlante is yet another playoff contender out of the race. He'll finish in 31st. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 playoff contenders out of this race. 6 of them still remain. Let's see where they are. Lopez right now in 5th. Collins is in 6th. There's Zach Rogers. He is in 10th. He's about to lose that spot to Benjamin Miles. Jesse Turner, he is in 16th. And the other two, I think, are damaged. Carson Gum back here in 29th. I think he just actually took 27th from Carter Friesen and moved Friesen back to 28th. Back up to the front as we're still green, I think. Yes, we are. And there was another car on pit road. That was the 42 of Vince Almariego with issues. But no caution. And we are nearing in on 5 laps to go. It's about 6.5 laps to go right now. J Gardner just moved into the 2nd position, as William Brock must have messed up a corner. He's dropped from 2nd all the way back to 5th. Battle on for 3rd between Lopez and Brommer. And now Brommer thinking about taking 2nd place from J Gardner. Couldn't quite get to him there. And Gardner going to get away. It looks like Brommer overdrove that corner, drove it a little too deep, and that hurt him on exit. William Brock trying to take the 4th position from Jordan Lopez, as enjoying the view is that Sitco Chevrolet of Diego Yepez, who I don't think can afford to coast it through these corners, even though he probably would like to save a little bit of fuel, because J Gardner is closing quickly. He's only a little less than 1.2 seconds back. Michael Norman up in the 6th position now. Great run for the 3-car. Number of times he's been runner-up in races this season, or up inside of the top 3, trying to make it. He just ran his fastest lap of the race. Do you think these drivers are saving fuel? Not at all. Mitchell Collins right there in the 7th position. He just ran his fastest lap of the race as well. And this is the guy right here that's hoping the top 7 cannot make it on fuel, because he was on pit road on the last caution. They were not. Every time someone ducks down to that inside coming off the final turn, I think they're heading for pit road. But nope. 5 laps to go here at Lime Rock. Yepez continues to lead, trying to get his first win of the season and first win for the Unknown Motorsports team. Neither he nor Matt Haas nor J Jefferson nor Julius Anderson have found victory lane yet this season. and he's trying to extend the streak of non-playoff drivers winning playoff races to 2. R Brommer was the first one last week, as the entire first round of the playoffs were won by Chase drivers, Millz, Poteet, and Jesse Turner. Johnny Gardner messed up that corner. That's going to allow J Lopes to get a run on him. Couldn't quite get to his right rear quarter panel, though, through this corner, and may have gotten off course just a tiny bit there. Losing some ground now to the 14. And things are starting to wad up from second place on back. You got Michael Norman, R Brommer, Mitchell Collins starting to close in on this, and this is all going on behind J Yepez, who's loving it. Benjamin Miles has got fresher tires than these drivers too, so that's why he's been able to work his way up now into the 8th position, now looking for 7th on Mitchell Collins. He's got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, though, because if he makes a mistake, it could definitely cost him a shot at winning this race if these top 7 cannot make it on fuel. Dylan Young, who may be on everybody's list to not send a Christmas card this year, he's right now in the 9th position. He just got around Trent Dunham and J Jefferson. Pretty good run for the Unknown Motorsports team overall, though. You've got Jefferson up here. I think he's in 11th, and Matt Haas just took 12th from Zach Rogers. Julius Anderson not that far back, so all 4 of their cars running pretty well right now. As you just had a pass there, Benjamin Miles for position. And again, I thought someone was coming to pit road, but they're not. 3 laps to go here at Lime Rock. Do they have the fuel to make it? I'm pretty certain that these drivers have not been to pit road this entire race. Some drivers came to pit road at the midway point. Benjamin Miles, right now the highest running of those drivers. I don't think these drivers came to pit road on the first or second cautions. If they did, then that's my bad, but I don't remember anybody hitting pit road that wasn't involved in some crash damage in the first 2 yellows. Yepez a little slow through that section, and Johnny Gardner is starting to close. Trying to get the 3rd win of the season for Joanna Atwood Motorsports and first of his Duracell Cup Series career. We'll see what the interval is between him and the 0, as it'll be 2 laps to go here at the line. It was 1.4 last time by. This time by, does it grow? Does it shrink? Oh, it shrunk a lot by half a second. He's only about a second back. So if Yepez continues to make some mistakes and Gardner can run some clean laps, Gardner might be on his back bumper here when we receive the white flag. This is the section right here that J Yepez has had issues with. Let's see if he can make it through here cleanly. Right here in this right-hander is where he had issue last lap, and that's where Gardner made up all of his time. Off course a little bit, Gardner the same. The Gardner might have gotten back into the throttle a little bit sooner, though. And he is only about 3-4 car lengths off the back bumper of that Citgo Chevrolet. He might have a shot on him here in this final lap, especially if he can get the draft on this front straightaway. About a full second separated him last time. This time, with the white flag in the air, the interval from first to second is 0.6. Johnny Gardner, he's got to be smooth. He's got to be careful. I know he wants to get up there to the back bumper of J Yepez, but he's got to be smart. He can't make a mistake and give this win away. Looks like these drivers will make it on fuel, so it will be a non-playoff driver that will win. Question is, will it be the 0 or the 14? Here comes the deciding corner. Who's going to make it through this turn safely enough? Yepez going to be smooth through the section. Gardner tries to do the same. He closes in a little bit more, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Benjamin Miles going to work his way up to looks like 3rd as he'll pass William Brock, but off the final corner. It's the first win of the season for J Yepez. First win of the season for Unknown Motorsports. He takes the checkered flag here today at Lime Rock. And the caution came out on the final lap, but we were already racing back to the checkers, so it didn't matter. Regardless, we were racing back to the line, and J Yepez. Great run here today for him. And like I said, if there was a point where he and Gardner and all of them were on pit road under those first 2 cautions and I missed it, well, then that's on me. I honestly thought these drivers had not been to pit road all race, and that there was no possible way they were going to be able to make it on fuel, but they proved me wrong. So J Yepez will get his first win of the season. And here in this second round of the playoffs, we still don't have a driver that is locked in, confirmed into the round of 8. Johnny Gardner comes up just short. And how about Benjamin Miles working his way from, I think he restarted back in 22nd, and in about, 17 laps or so, he worked his way up to the third finishing position. A great run for him. I think he was just hoping that either we'd have a caution or that those drivers ahead of him couldn't make it on fuel. He was so close to having this win fall into his lap. William Brock will bring it home in 4th behind his teammate Dylan Young there in 5th. Ryan Brommer, after his win last week, will get 6th. Michael Norman 7th. Trent Dunham 8th. Adam Garcia 9th. And Jack Mitchell 10th. You notice anything interesting about that top 10? Yeah, there's no playoff drivers in it. All non-playoff contenders finishing in the top 10. You got to go all the way down to 12th before you get our first playoff contender, and that is Jesse Turner. Now, Turner came into this race only 8 points out of the points lead. So with a top 15 run here today, maybe, just maybe, he could be the one that has that nice cushion over the cutoff spot headed to next week's race at Arizona. Zach Rogers will finish in 15th, so a very good run for him as he came into this race in one of the danger zone positions. Carson Gum, I said this back, I think it was last week at Hillside, that he's kind of like the Iron Man of the playoffs. Well, I think you could say the same thing again here today. He had damage, he had no hood, he somehow battled back to finish in the 19th position. Carter Friesen, we saw him get off course earlier on. He's going to battle back for 21st. Jordan Lopez apparently staying out. That did not work out in his favor. He dropped way back on those old tires to finish in the 22nd position, so I would be a little bit worried about him heading into next week. And then you got to go outside of the top 28 to find the rest of them. You got Mitchell Collins. He actually finished out of the race. I didn't even know he was involved in a wreck. You guys saw it on the NSCRA split cam. He finishes with a DNF in 29th, so both he and Lopez could be almost in must-win situations next week. And same for Austin LaPlante, who also was in the danger zone coming into this race. He finishes out in the 31st position. And then all the rest of your playoff contenders finished out of the race as well. Shelton in 32nd, Poteet 34th, Watson 36th, Millz in 37th, and Chris Dollerton in dead last. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of your 12 playoff contenders that finished this race behind the wall. That's typical Lime Rock. It always seems to be a track that shakes up the point standings, and it has done no less here today in our second race of the second round of the playoffs. Next week at Arizona, there's going to be a lot of interesting scenarios going into that one, and we're bringing back the 2019 rules package as well, so it's going to be a wild elimination race, no doubt about that. But congratulations to Diego Yepez on his first win of the season in the Duracell Cup Series. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Lime Rock. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finished results. These are your overall point standings and your updated playoffs points, which will show you the interval of drivers either above or below 8th in the point standings heading into next week. That is the cutoff line. It's only 8 drivers will move on to the next round of the playoffs. Next week, we'll see you at Arizona for the elimination race. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.